Hello all and welcome to my MicroTeach. I am Devin Conley. Today I will be teaching you about prohibition, so let's get started. So what is prohibition? By definition, prohibition is the action of forbidding something, especially by law. Prohibition is very commonly affiliated with the U.S. during the ban on alcohol during the 1920s through 1933. It was deemed the Great Experiment because those who supported it were hoping to abolish the use of alcohol to help better society in the United States at the time. But in reality, after 13 years, no evidence really deemed successful for what they were looking for. It wasn't there. So this moves us into the origin about prohibition. The big question is exactly how did this come about? Well, it was drafted after World War I when Woodrow Wilson was president. He created the 18th Amendment, which officially ended the selling, manufacturing, storage, transportation of alcohol and any alcoholic beverage. To be precise, the 18th Amendment stated, after 1 year from the ratification of this article, the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicated liquors within the importation thereof into, or the exportation thereof from the United States and all territories subject to the jurisdiction thereof for beverages purposes is hereby prohibited. Now, what stirred up the cause of the 18th Amendment to be drafted was it actually originated from the WCTU, which was the Women's Christian Temperance Union, who attempted to create a dry America since the 1800s by praying in front of saloons affiliated with heavy alcohol usage on a daily basis. This organization was soon overpowered by the Anti-Saloon League, which was comprised of both men and women in the fight against alcohol, which people believed it then made it more successful. Now, with the creation of the 18th Amendment and all these organizations backing it up, society had hoped that improvements would be made, but sadly they were mistaken. Yes, there was a 30% drop in alcohol consumption, seeing that there was no alcohol allowed in the United States. It should have been a 100% drop. But serious crimes increased from thefts and burglaries increased by 9%, homicide by 13%, federal prison population increased by 363%. Not to mention the creation of bootlegging and speakeasies and the increase in gang violence. The worst of Prohibition gangs was Al Capone, who was the leader of the Chicago Mafia during the Prohibition era. Capone put away a fortune of estimated $100 million and was responsible for countless murders before he was put away into Alcatraz. Capone smuggled huge quantities of whiskeys into the Chicago area, which was then contributed to the creation of speakeasies. Speakeasies were the underground world of liquor consumption and smuggling, affiliated with nightclubs, saloons, drugstores, everywhere. It was said that the prohibition actually increased the sale and promotion of alcohol. One statistic shows that the city of Detroit in 1918, before Prohibition, Detroit had 2,334 liquor serving establishments. During the height of Prohibition in 1925, Detroit had around 15,000 establishments that served alcohol. Prohibition began to see an end on December 6, 1932, when Senator John Bain of Wisconsin submitted a resolution to Congress proposing the submission of the states of the 21st Amendment. In this amendment, it reads, "The 18th article of the amendment of the Constitution of the United States is hereby repealed." This was then passed on February 20th, 1933, and was ratified by the states on December 5th, 1933. Now that Prohibition is over and we can reflect on how society reacted to taking away alcohol consumption, we're able to see if alcohol in the Prohibition area was actually successful. There's actually almost no resources available describing Prohibition as successful. What we found as the per capita consumption of alcohol beverages chart, that it actually increased or stayed almost level throughout the entire time of Prohibition. The graph above looks encouraging to begin with. As it starts to begin to pass Prohibition laws individually, the number of gallons of alcohol is declining. but with a great decline after Prohibition was enacted. However, soon after, the gallons of alcohol being consumed doubled and began to increase. Then we have to look at the crime rate, in which actually increased during the time of Prohibition, where we can see that there was still large spurts, where I mentioned earlier that there was almost a 13% increase in homicides, where we can see that here. So in the end, we learned that taking away alcohol is bad for the United States. Here are my citations. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know if there's anything else you need. Great.